Welcome back to Stocklabs for another market recap. We are into March now, so we finished out February in the first half of the week. Uh, First few days of March are underway. Weather's starting to change. People feeling good, and the market overall had a choppy week, which we were kind of expecting. It started off a bit slow. Um, came in Monday. I think came in Monday a little bit off the lows uh, from Friday, but then drifted down into midweek, and then Thursday, Friday, we kind of got some pretty sizable up moves that closed the market up for the week. In a decent way. So first winning week for the indices in at least a couple, maybe at least 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. So first positive week back. Um, Qs were up 2.7%, IWM up 2%, S&P up 2%, and the Dow up 1.87%, just shy of 2%. Credit markets did okay. Bond market was up 1%. Decent day. Kind of the bond market had a big move Thursday, Friday. I think that's kind of what buoyed the indices overall. I forget exactly what the catalyst was on as far as any economic data we got. I think actually, even though it was first week of the month, the employment data I think is postponed till this coming week. So we'll see what that looks like. We didn't get that on first Friday of the month this month. But for all overall, it was a pretty good week. Even crude bounced. We've been talking about crude's been in this sort of mode where any up move is met with almost immediate selling. So we'll see if that pattern sort of sticks. You know, the uh, the leadership stocks, they also had a pretty good. Okay, my filter is stuck. The leadership stocks had a pretty good week as well. Meta up almost 9% for the week, way outperforming the NASDAQ. Google, kind of highlighted Google in the prior recap that it was flirting with flat year to date. All the OpenAI sort of perception that there's going to be a lot of competition from that was pushing the stock down. It had a nice bounce, 5% for the week. The rest were kind of in line with the NASDAQ. So Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft, basically in line. Amazon underperformed, only up 1.5. Tesla, flat, but this has been sort of the big winner for the year so far. Kind of took a break this week. And Netflix was flat to downish. This one hasn't done a whole lot after it more than doubled off the 2022 lows. So pretty decent week for leadership stocks. And on the breadth side, if we take a look at the industry level, basic materials were the leader, up 4%. We said crude was up 4% for the week. These stocks kind of matched that performance. And next highest was industrials, but there wasn't really any other sector that on a medium basis was keeping up with the indices too much. Industrials were kind of right in line, up 2.5%. Tech, even median tech stock was only up 1.9%. NASDAQ overall was up an entire percentage point higher than this. So you can see the gains of the indices were kind of getting dragged by the mega cap tech stocks, or the Nasdaq was being dragged by the mega tech stocks. It wasn't so much of a broad tech rally, although there's this is green, so it's okay. Utilities were down 8/10. Nothing really to comment on that too much. And as far as subsectors, we actually didn't have that many be up in that 5% range. There's maybe a dozen here. Okay, aluminum had a really big week. I don't know what was going on with that, but Copper up 10%, solar up 9, steel. You see the materials stocks are the highest here, kind of representative of this overall category. The rest, gold and silver had a nice week. They're still part of basic materials, but we kind of treat them as more of a money play than a metals play. Just the way sort of the investor classes are made up in those sectors. And other than that, not a whole lot to say on the upside. On the downside, wasn't really much to speak of here. We have a couple moderately weak sectors, but for the most part, things looked pretty good. So the breadth for the market was okay. I would say I would call it kind of what you'd expect from a vanilla 2% up week in the market. And if we look at breadth for the subsector, or if we look at breadth by the market cap slices, we've got 2.5% up for 1 to 5 billion, 5 to 10 billion, up 2.3, pretty good. 10 to 50 billion, up 2.4. It's all kind of the same. Looks like 50 to 100 billion, up 2.5, and Terra Cap's 100 billion plus market cap, up 1.8, slightly below the market performance. S&P and Q, the Qs were up 2.7, S&P was up 2, 100 billion cap stocks up 1.8. It's basically in line. So looks okay from a breadth perspective. It's kind of just a broad bounce in the market after several down weeks. I don't know if it's that that reassuring that the gains were all sort of just pumped in all at once and Thursday, Friday. Maybe it's the start of a leg up, but seemed kind of just like end of week squeeze, just the way the tape was trading on Thursday, Friday. And if we look at intelligence for this coming week, we don't have actually a whole lot to talk about on the bullish side. We have this regional banks, silver, and short bonds. So bond market has kind of been driving the bus on all of these trades for this year. Actually, going back to last year, bonds and the dollar, the macro trends have been essentially dictating to equities what they're able to do for a particular week. If the bond market has a hard time, in that it's selling off hard, at best you can hope for is a choppy week in indices. At worst, the bids just disappear from equities. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on the bond market this week. Got on the downside, we have inverse big banks is bearish, so bullish banks. Seems like the bank trade might be something to watch this week. Bitcoin is bearish this week. I know Bitcoin's kind of also been in a choppy-ish range, although the larger trend for the last year has been to the downside. It is off the lows, but Stocklabs bearish on Bitcoin for this week. Natural gas, I think this is a bear ETF. I can't remember if this is a bear or bull ETF. I'd have to look it up. Got NRGU, big oil, and so that's bearish. We've got cybersecurity bearish. We've got some SPAC thing, or some short SPAC. Actually, I can't tell if this is short or long. Short D-SPAC, which seems to me that this would be trying to de-SPAC something, but then you're also short it, so you're trying to SPAC it. So maybe this is, I've got myself turned around here. This is an inverse screen, so we've got inverse ETF, but also there's some sort of inverse in the name. I'm just going to ignore this. And Dow Internet stocks, bearish, is rated bearish. So bullish Dow Internet stocks. I think maybe Amazon, CRM, those sorts of stocks. Gasoline is bearish this week. So this is also somewhat traded with crude. We'll see how that goes. Generally, this has been a prime input to the inflation trends. Gasoline being high for those several months back when the Ukraine war first started, really put, gasoline's an input cost on a lot of things just based on trucking and shipping and all this stuff. So the price of gas is embedded in a lot of other prices. Anyway, if gas backs off this week, maybe expect the bond market to inch up, gives a bid to equities. Is this sort of thing this sort of chain reaction you would kind of be looking for. XBI bearish, biotech. This biotech sector sort of trades almost not quite independent of the market, but there are weeks where biotech really pumps or dumps when the market does nothing or does the opposite of what that sector is doing. So maybe we keep an eye on biotech as kind of a wild card trade for this week. And what else? NRGD. Okay, somehow there's two NRG ETFs on here. Probably just something with the amount of chop that's been going on. Stocklabs can't really decide, or not Stocklabs can't decide, but the statistics on these stocks are putting them both in this screen. So, and then we have ultra short silver is bearish, so bullish silver, I think. Okay. And internet stocks bearish. We've got that. We've got bullish internet. We've got bearish internet on the same screen. We've got silver bullish, I think, for this week because it's short is bearish. And I think on the other side of the screen, we had silver on the bull side. Bitcoin is bearish. So you can see that there's a lot of sort of cross currents in the market that, can expect after the market has chopped around for the better part of almost 6 months. There is no big prevailing trend, that we can see, at least going back to maybe October, December, October, or September or October was sort of I guess the most recent big low. And market's kind of deciding if it maybe will revisit that or if it's just consolidating the more recent 2023 trend and will start pressing up again. So we'll see. Pretty choppy action. There were a lot of gaps and just, the last couple weeks, there's been a lot of gaps and just sitting. I know market's sort of trading around this, it's not on here on this screen, but market, at least for the Qs, is sort of trading around the 200-day average, which a lot of traders look at for trend. Makes sense that you'd go above and below it a bunch of times before deciding what the ultimate resolution is going to be. So we're kind of in that process right now for anyone trading around that average. And yeah, so I think for this week, what you're looking at probably bulls will maybe try and push this up a little bit first day or so. We're kind of back up in the levels where the inflation and claims data had hit the week before and really caused a sell-off. So I would expect maybe sellers to defend those, that area, at least at first, and push the market back down by maybe the end of the week. If not, then, maybe the bulls have regained control of the tape again. But the breadth metrics the last couple weeks were pretty bad. Seemed like there was a lot of liquidation. There was more to be done. They kind of, the sellers kind of just took their foot off the gas Thursday, Friday, and it caused a big rally, in in the market. So we'll see if that bounce was as strong as what it just looks like on looking at a plain chart. And after that, we'll see where we go from there. So we're into March. Winter's almost over. And yeah, it's a good start to the month so far for the Bulls, I guess. See if they can keep it up. So good luck out there. And be back next week. See how it all went. Talk to you guys later.